Hello, my name is Jorge Oriol. In this video, I will give you a top of movies that I watched on Netflix and that are my favorites. This video is intended to recommend some movies that I personally consider are good, and as I mentioned at the beginning, I liked them a lot. I hope the movies are to the liking of all the audience. The name of the first movie I would like to recommend is Shrek. Shrek is a movie that is approximately 20 years old since it was released in theaters. From my point of view, this movie has been one of the biggest successes of the audiovisual production company DreamWorks. In this movie, the main characters are Shrek and Donkey. Shrek is an ogre, has fun scaring people who visit his swamp. One day, Shrek meets a donkey in the middle of the forest and takes him with him to spend the night in his swamp. In the story, Shrek is stripped of his swamp because a prince named Lord Farquaad orders some creatures to move to Shrek's swamp. Shrek goes in search of Farquaad to demand his land back. Farquaad will give it back on the condition that he rescues Princess Fiona, who lives in a castle guarded by a dragon. Fiona is the princess fiancée that how Shrek and Donkey begin a journey in search of Fiona. At that moment, Shrek and Donkey begin to live a different adventures that turn the story into something surprising. From my point of view, Shrek is a charming, original, and very funny movie. If you are a person who likes to watch children's movies, you will love this movie. I recommend you to watch this movie. Fury is a movie that takes place during the Second World War. The story is about five soldiers aboard a war tank that day by day fight the German army. The German army was on the verge of despair because they knew that their defeat was assured by the soldiers of the USA Army. During the story, one of the soldiers suffers a lot because he is not used to use weapons. However, throughout the film, the soldier sees the need to use weapons to survive in the middle of the war. In the course of the film, you can see the union and teamwork that each of the soldiers brings to the team. It is certainly a film that will leave you a good message. It is a very interesting film and the scenes shows are first class. From my point of view, Four is an original, surprising, violent and bloody film. I consider it is surprising because in each of the scenes it shows how the Second World War was. It is important to remember that the Second World War was a stage that left a mark on the whole world. It is a violent and bloody movie because all the human rights that were violated during the Second World War. In my opinion, Fury is a very good movie. I recommend that you see this movie. I am sure it will leave a good taste in your mouth like me. You will know the really of what is lived in a war, and you will learn a great lesson. If you like action movies, this movie is perfect for you. My third recommendation to watch on Netflix for a weekend is the movie Hotel Transylvania. Hotel Transylvania is a children movie about a hotel where some of the world's most famous monsters go on vacation. For example, Frankenstein, the werewolf, Dracula, etc. When the monsters want to go for a walk, um, they all go to Count Dracula Hotel Transylvania, a splendid place where they can be themselves without human beings bothering them. On a special weekend, Dracula invites creatures like the Invisible Man, the Mummy, and others to celebrate his daughter Mavis' 118th birthday. However, an unexpected complication develops when an ordinary man named Johnny arrives at the party and falls in love with Mavis. In my opinion, Hotel Transylvania is an original, enjoyable, and very funny movie. This movie is aimed at a chilled audience. I can assure you that if you see this movie, it will become a favorite of many children and adults. In my opinion, um, it is one of my favorite movies. In case you like the movie, I recommend you the second and third part of this movie. White Chick is a movie that personally is very funny. It is original, nice, a very funny movie. I watched it for the first time when I was um, 8 years old, and since then it became one of my favorite movies. The story is about two unlucky FBI agents who pretend to be two girls novices in high society to investigate a series of kidnappings. But as they prepare their plane, they discover that breaking into high society is a lot harder than they thought. These two agents throughout the film go throughout a series of adventures that many audiences find hilarious. I hope you watch the film and confirm whether or not it is funny. I assure you that you will not regret watching this hilarious comedy. To finish with this top 5 of my favorite movies, I recommend you to watch the movie Amores Perros. Amores Perros is a story that takes place in Mexico City. A traffic accident connects three stories. Octavio, a teenager, decides to elope with Susana, his sister in law. His dog, Coffee, becomes an instrument to get the money and escape. At the same time, Daniel abandons his family to go live with Valeria, a model. And finally, El Chivo is a lone assassin who seeks to reunite with his daughter, but because of mistakes he made in the past, he cannot go in search of her. In my opinion, Amores Perros is an original, intriguing, and dazzling film. It was nominated for several awards, and all these factors have made it a very famous film not only in Mexico but also in many countries around the world. I assure you that you will like these movies as much as I do. I hope that the recommended movies are to your liking. See you in the next video. Don't forget to watch all these movies while eating popcorn.